All throughout the world, there are different church designs. They could be intended for a small community or an entire city. As one travels throughout the world, they will notice the changes in churches' architecture and how the differences affect the music being heard there. The architectural design of a church can change how the music is heard for the parishioners, and the director of music ministry has to take the design into account when choosing the music to perform. One architectural design that strongly affects how music is heard is a dome. The dome shape allows vibrations from the music being performed to bounce off the ceiling and travel back down to the listener, creating a surround sound effect. While the dome shape allows the vibrations to come back down, a flat ceiling above the church, if it is high, causes the sound to fill the empty area rather than travel through and back down to the church. This causes the music to be hard to understand because the sound waves have to travel through more space to reach the intended audience. While in a shorter, smaller church, the sound waves have less room to travel, making the music not only louder, but easier to understand. Another type of ceiling that affects the sound heard is a vault ceiling. When a church has a vaulted ceiling, less vibrations are produced since the sound goes up into the ceiling from both sides and comes down through the center. Since a vaulted ceiling usually spreads across the whole church, the music not only has to travel up and back down, but also from the front to the back of the church. The size of a church is another factor in how the music is performed. For example, in a large church, the sound coming from the musicians and singers has to be produced at a higher volume to be able to reach throughout the church, so even the people in the back of the church are getting the same musical experience as the people in the front. To work with these designs, directors of music ministry must know where to place the musicians in the building and also how many microphones are needed and where to place them. One wrong microphone placement can alter the whole sound. At my church, we have one main singer who plays the piano, and on late Sunday morning masses or special holidays, he's accompanied by a choir. The music at my church is contemporary, and the easy-to-sing-along melodies encourages the churchgoers to participate in Mass. My church was made for a small community, therefore the church is small. Holy Rosary is a half-circle shape with a flat ceiling. The pastor is positioned at the middle of the straight side along with the singer/pianist, and they are surrounded by 3 aisles of pews. The size and the circular shape of the church makes it easier for the musicians to make music sound good for the community. There is very little room for the music to get distorted, allowing easy-to-understand music. When I first walked inside of St. Ignatius of Loyola, I was in awe of the size since it was not something I'm used to. The church was very large with a vaulted ceiling. When I was there, I found the music very hard to understand because I didn't know the words that were being said by the choir. However, since the organ was behind us, the instrumental sounded very good. At St. Francis of Assisi, even though it had a vaulted ceiling like St. Ignatius of Loyola, the size of the church allowed for a much better sound. The music ministry consisted of 2 singers, a pianist, and a drummer. The music was easy to understand and also contemporary, engaging all of the parishioners. The first church we went to in Italy was St. Maria in Trastevere. In this Mass, there was no choir singing along with minimal music being played. The only thing that was sung was the Alleluia, so there wasn't much chance for me to hear the music. The second church we went to was St. Peter's Basilica. This church is very large due to the fact that it was built to show the power of the Catholic community at that time in Rome. There's a dome above the pastor and the choir that turned into a flat ceiling spreading all the way to the back of the large church. This caused the music to become more distorted the further away from the choir you were. However, as you see in the music clip, the participation was high, and even though the words sung by the choir could not be made out, when everyone joined in, the music was as clear as day. The final church in Italy was St. Mark's Basilica in Venice. Above the parishioners and the pastor was a big dome. During the Mass, the choir was above everyone, allowing the music to first travel up into the dome before it reached us. As Marco explained, the vibrations the dome was giving off made the parishioners feel as if they were in a small room with the choir right in front of them. There were no microphones used during this Mass, showing the big impact the elevation of the choir and the size of the dome had on the music in a large church.